All right, check it. So boom, 2 days ago, I was recording myself cleaning my upstairs bathroom. I was cleaning it and recording it as part of a 21-day growth series that I'm working on. So the full video will be out later. But I had to take this snippet from that video and post it now because I need you to see God in action. Now, I don't typically clean my upstairs bathroom. This is not my chore. However, we know that when we have males responsible for cleaning something, they do not typically clean it the way that women might. Doesn't necessarily mean it's better or worse. Women just happen to be a little more detailed. Now, obviously, that does not apply to all men and all women, so don't get in your feelings. You probably saw those numbers flash across the screen. I'm using this pole with this head attachment to make the job a little easier because cleaning this shower required a whole lot of scrubbing. The last time I used it, it was functional, but something must have happened because so far you've watched it fall off 3 times. And here I am trying to figure out exactly what's wrong with it and if I can fix it. I think I fixed it, and I come back and I continue. And of course, it falls off again for a 4th time. So I'm looking at it, trying to figure out what I could have done. And I'm listening to worship music, but I'm talking to God at the same time. And there's a 5th one that I missed. And this is frustrating because my back is hurting, my leg is burning, and I want to be done with this already. And then this happens. Okay, so I'm pausing right here. I'm not going to cut out the parts of the video where this end of this thing kept falling off. I'm leaving it in there, and I'm pausing this, and I'm saying this right now because I don't want to do it as a voiceover because I want you to hear it, and I want you to hear the authenticity in it. As I was scrubbing that shower and this head kept falling off, I kept trying to figure out how to fix it. And I heard in the spirit, just slow down and take your time. You don't have to do it fast. You want to do it right. You want to do it well. There's no hurry. And I know for a lot of people, that's just common sense. If moving too fast and bumping into the thing against the wall is knocking the head of this thing off because it's broken and it's obviously in need of replacement, and you're trying to make something work that you can't fix, and the only solution to be able to continue using it is to slow down, that's common sense. Well, maybe it's common sense for some, but I'm a little hard-headed. And I'm also a very determined individual. I'm one of those people who, if it's not broke, why fix it? If it's still usable, why throw it away? And if it's broken, but I can fix it so I can keep using it, I'm going to fix it and keep using it. I'm not going to get rid of something that I know I can use. And sometimes God has to take the things away from us that we think are working just fine, that we can keep piecing back together, that we can keep putting band-aids and tape on. He has to take them from us and show us that they were broken and that we didn't need to keep trying to put them back together again. What we needed to do while we were in them was slow down and take our time and do the best that we could with what we had, until he prepared that table in the presence of our enemies. And so I heard in the spirit, slow down, take your time. And I'm pausing here because I am believing God that I'm going to finish doing this shower using this stick, and then I'm going to transition to this sponge. And I know you see me use a similar sponge in my kitchen, but please know I have multiple. This is the one designated for the bathrooms, and designated for the bathrooms upstairs, because I don't use the same sponge upstairs and downstairs. I don't play none of that. But I'm going to transition from this pole to this sponge once I get the hard scrubbing done. And I am believing God that the head of this is not going to come off again, because I'm going to take my time, because I'm going to be obedient to the Spirit, because obedience is always better than sacrifice. Now, I forgot to tilt the camera back down, so I didn't realize that it wasn't capturing the part of the tub that I was actually cleaning, but you can clearly see when I stop scrubbing to put the head back on. I'm not going to hide whether it falls off or not, so just keep watching. And that's what happens when you get ahead of yourself. When you fail to take your time, and when you fail to truly be obedient to the word that God has given you. So, a lesson has been learned. And I'm not editing that out. You're going to get all this work. And God is saying in this season that I'm going to get all this work. I am going to learn the level of obedience that he's called me to in my life. I can't do what other people do. I can't take shortcuts. I can't cut out the hard, ugly parts and hide them from myself or from anybody else. I got to show it all so that when God does what only God can do, there'll be no doubt about who did it. There'll be no doubt about who's in control. There'll be no doubt about who's driving. There'll be no doubt about who has the wheel. There'll be no doubt about whose plan it is and whose will it is. There'll be no doubt. I got to show it all because I was purposed for this life, and God created me to bring souls to the kingdom. He created me to bear witness to his everlasting love, his faithfulness, his promises that are yes and amen. He created me to be a living example of how you can come into this world unwanted, unloved. Ooh. How you can live a life being despised and misunderstood, devalued, disrespected, and dishonored. And how God can come in and clean you up from the inside and love you whole. How God can come in and show you that your living is not in vain. That the purpose for which he created you will be fulfilled. In the eyes and in the seeing of all those who doubted, all those who talk about you, spitefully use you, all those who fashion weapons against you. He's going to make you the living proof that while the weapons form, they don't prosper. He's going to let me grow and glow, change and evolve, develop and be blessed in the presence of those who curse me. And he is going to use me to be a living demonstration that his way is the only way, that his way isn't just the best way, but his way is the way. And you see what happened when I relaxed into that spirit? When I gave God what's God's. Now let this word bless you real good. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 3 through 5. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ.
We think often that the problem with what happened with Eve in the garden is when she ate from the fruit. And that is not what the problem is. The problem started, and she told us out of her own mouth in Genesis 3. She says, the serpent deceived me, and then I ate. The serpent found an opening, and he did not give her a command. He gave her a thought. I don't have to tell you to sin. I don't have to tell you to betray yourself. I don't have to tell you to give up on your destiny. The serpent doesn't even have to tell you to kill yourself. He just has to give you a thought that this world would be better without you in it. I just have to give you a thought. Your thought life is more powerful sometimes than even your prayer life, because your thought life, if you don't get a hold of it real good, then you'll end up in a situation where the thoughts of the enemy have taken root and produced fruit in your life. And then when you recognize that your thought life is under attack, you go into your prayer closet with a different strategy. God, I don't need you to change. I need you to help me get my head together. God, I'm about to walk away from the very thing that you called me to, because weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through God for the pulling down of strongholds. That word stronghold actually means a fortified argument. That means that the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty through God for the pulling down of fortified arguments. Ever since you was little, they've been in your head. That argument is so fortified, but I came here to tell you, I got a weapon stronger than the argument. I got a prayer for that. I got a worship for that. I got a Jesus for that. I know what you said about me, but do you know what Jesus did for me? Jesus did something